Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Hollywood reporter, Dick Simmons, speaking to you from Stage 15 at MGM in the movie capital of the world. Our special guest today is a gentleman who merits the title of Mr. Show Business. For some years now, he's been one of the most popular figures in the entertainment world. His voice, listened to around the world via movies, radio, and records, probably has been heard by more people than that of any other living person. I'm speaking, of course, about Mr. Bing Crosby.
Well, those are certainly kind words, sir, but to tell the truth, that description is probably the product of the Decca Record Company's publicity department. And I imagine they can be pardoned if they're a little overzealous, if they exaggerate a little. Still, those words sound nice to an old gaffer like me.
I don't think I'm exaggerating. In a recent issue of Variety, it was reported that more than 130 million of your records have been sold. They tell me that makes you the champion recording artist of all time.
Well, now, listen, I'm not going to argue about how many records are sold. If Variety wants to say 130 million, I think they can be pardoned a little literary license, too. They've sold quite a few, but really the success of the records, you must agree, has been almost directly attributable to the unusual musical arrangements I've had, the fellows I've worked with, the great musicians, the great singing groups like the Andrews Sisters, and great artists like Judy Garland and the Mills Brothers, and so many other people that I've doubled up with, Fred Astaire, Bob Hope. And, of course, I must mention, too, I've had a lot of records that never got anywhere. They cut them up into guitar picks, I guess, sailed them out of windows, didn't sell at all.
Well, there haven't been very many of those, as far as I know. True Love, the Cole Porter song from High Society, certainly did all right this year. And I think it's one of the finest recordings.
Well, that's a nice song. Cole Porter really surprised everybody by writing such a nice, sweet, sentimental song. He generally concentrates on more sophisticated material. Of course, the fact that I had a little lady named Grace Kelly on the record with me didn't hurt its sale any either. La Princesse, having her along for the ride, helped the sales because I'm sure that made it sort of a collector's item, you know. People would like to have a record made by a princess just before she left professional life to move into the palace, don't you think?
Well, I have one myself, and I'm holding on to it. I understand this record of True Love is your 20th recording to hit the magic million mark in sales, right?
Yes, that is true. And as I said before, you can call me lucky.
And now I believe you've really gone in for a change in your movie life. After all the singing you've done on the screen, they tell me that you don't warble a note in your new film, Man on Fire. This is the first time you've ever tried that, isn't it, Bing?
This is a conspicuous first for me. I've done dramatic films before, like Country Girl and The Little Boy Lost, but they were about entertainers. I played the part of an entertainer, and it was legitimate to throw in a song or two. But this picture, Man on Fire, it has a strong dramatic appeal. It has a punch, and I think you put a song in there, I would just be Bing Crosby the crooner rather than the character that I'm trying to portray. Well, fortunately, Saul Siegel, the picture's producer, and Randall McDougall, its director, and the fellow who wrote the screenplay, they went along with me on this principle. They agreed that we ought to play it straight, no singing. I think, really, it would have been a little silly to have an actor burst into song in the midst of what we hope would be a really powerful drama. Don't you think so?
That sounds reasonable to me, yes. I understand that Man on Fire is unusual in other ways, too. For example, you followed a rather unorthodox method of casting it, didn't you?
Oh, not too unorthodox. A little unusual, probably. Mr. Siegel, McDougall, and I thought that it would heighten the dramatic effect to have the other roles played by actors and actresses whose faces weren't too well known to movie audiences. So we went to New York and we lined up a group of performances who had lots of experience, competent people who had appeared on the New York stage and in television, but their faces are absolutely new to the movie public.
That sounds very interesting. Can you tell us about some of them?
Well, there are three girls. Inger Stevens, she's a little girl who was born in Sweden, been here 7 years, and Mary Fickett, a New York girl, and Anne Seymour, a very fine character actress. The first two girls, of course, carry the love interest. Both of them are mighty easy on the eye, and more important, they're very competent actresses. Each of them has made appearances on Broadway. Each of them has done considerable television work. This, though, is their first movie. But I predict you'll be seeing a lot more of these two young ladies.
That's something to look forward to. And who else do you have in the picture?
We got a young boy in there, a kid named Malcolm Broderick, and he's really a fine actor. He made quite a hit, on Broadway in that Desperate Hours play. Well, we brought him out to Hollywood to play the part of my 11-year-old son. And then we have Richard Easton, and we got E.G. Marshall. They sort of round out the cast. Really keep me stepping, I'm telling you. Keep up with these people, because they're so good. And as an actor, I leave considerable to be desired, but I get in there and pitch and take my best shots, do the best I can.
I hope the fact that you've gone so dramatic in this picture doesn't mean you won't do more musical films. A lot of people will be disappointed if that happens. Even Bob Hope, I suspect, would feel badly.
You let Hope speak for himself. Believe me, he'll be happy to, at great length. He'll speak interminably on any subject that he can think of, and as long as he can get 2 or 3 people together in a phone booth. But I honestly think that you're exaggerating when you say moviegoers are going to be crying in their beer unless old Crosby does a few more song and dance pictures. I really do. Seriously, I enjoy making musicals. It's a lot of fun, and if a good one comes along, and I'm asked to be in it, I hope that I get a shot. Right on deck.
Well, I hope so, too. Bing, you're recognized as the dean of all singers, and certainly the most successful. I think people would be interested to hear your comments about the new crop of singing stars.
Oh, there's so many good ones, both young men and young women today. They all sing so good. There's so much competition, they gotta be good. Much tougher getting started these days, believe me. When I started belting out Mississippi Mud and some of those old chestnuts with the Paul Whiteman Rhythm Boys. But when they do click today, they've proved they got something on the ball. Now, you take this boy, Pat Boone. I think he's real good. Yes, he's a nice-looking boy. Got a wonderful clean-cut appearance, nice manner about him. Got a good voice, good range, no exaggerated mannerisms. Just sings nice and straight and in tune. And I believe this kid is going to be on top for a long while.
And Elvis Presley?
Good man, very good performer. He's got to broaden his style a little, maybe get a little more variety in his repertoire, sing a few different kinds of songs instead of just the rock and roll. But there's a lot of good singers today, so many. Presley, I think, is one of the best. Got good beat, he's got a wonderful rhythm. But if you got something different to offer, anything at all, as long as it's a different sound, and as long as it's novel and new and strange, why, public will make room for it, seems to me.
Well, even though you don't sing in Man on Fire, there is a title song which has become popular and which has been used in the film, isn't there?
Well, yes, Paul Francis Webster and Sammy Fain, they're the fellows who wrote Love is a Many Splendid Thing. We got them to compose a Man on Fire song, sort of theme music. It'll be sung under the titles by the Ames Brothers. A good group, I think you'll agree, and it should make very good listening, and they're going to make a record of it, too, the Ames Brothers.
Well, we look forward to hearing this song in the picture and to seeing you go dramatic, Bing.
Well, thank you. I hope you're not disappointed. It really is a different kind of film. It has quite a lot of power, quite a punch. I do hope you like it.
We've enjoyed this opportunity to find out about the picture from you and hope to have you back with us again real soon, Bing.
And again, merci beaucoup. From me to you. Thanks again.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking to Bing Crosby in Hollywood, learning a few facts about his latest film, Man on Fire, one in which he enacts a strong, dramatic role. A definite change of pace from his usual screen assignment.